Yes. Good morning, Daniel. This is the Scout Den, which is next door to us. And 30 years ago, or 31 years ago, my sister came and lived here, and we don't know whether she made this garden or not, but we have inherited it from my sister, and in fact Zilla, the head gardener, she said that she hopes the Scouts don't want it back, because she enjoys this garden. She's a great gardener, and it gives us, well, some to do, keeps us on our toes. These pansies were planted in the autumn for the spring flowering, and late winter too, and they're a great plant, great variety of colours. But although they're liable to get a disease, what they call a stem rot, and it's a bug that gets in the ground and eats them, but we try and treat the ground before we plant them. So that's that area, and I'll turn this hose off now, and it's a very noisy thing. And this here, the garden continues around, and this is, when we came here there was no fence, so I built the fence. That's the first project, and put the gate in. I didn't want a gate there, but it was the head gardener said she wanted a gate, and it has worked out very well. Now this crabapple tree is called ballerina sambo. Now in these days that would never be allowed, samba, and it's very racist, of course. So it has a beautiful dark apples on it, and the birds leave them alone. They don't eat them at all. So yes, and this the frontage, we wanted a fence which was a little bit unique. So the head gardener and I got together and we decided to make this loopy one, and we made it in our factory, laminated all the timbers up, and it fitted in very well. So yes, these are pansies, and these will come out, and there'll be marigolds be planted here for the summer show when the pansies go off. And yes, a little archway, more laminated timber, and yes, and the garden comes through in here, of course up to the front door, and this is quite an area of garden. And I sort of weed it on my hands and knees, and the weeds are very prolific, really. You've got to keep at them. But some of them that I perhaps call weeds, my wife treasures the plants. And the roses are looking well at the moment. And yes, the garden goes right around the house. And this crabapple tree, it's got a few flowers left, but it has a lovely, quite big apples on, and the birds really like them. Although it's covered in apples, the apples don't last very long, and they sometimes fly away with them, and I don't know how they manage that, but they do. Of course, they're quite a decent sized apple. And over here is a variety of plants coming on, and the clematis is in full flight at the moment, and it's very pretty. It's almost like an arch, and I don't know how much longer it keeps flowering, but it's very good flower. And some of this is new planting. Here we had quite a big now. Don't know what to call it. shrub. It was a big shrub, but it died this year. And I presume it was planted 30 years ago. And come around here, and yes, that'll come up in the summer, that garden. And around here are the begonias. And a couple of weeks ago, we got a truckload of, or ute load of potting mix, and all these pots were potted up, mostly on one day, and 177 pots we potted up. So it was quite a big job, and this will become a wall of flowers, of course. Then we'll have hanging begonias up there, and in our courtyard now it's a very bare. More begonia pots, and I think there's some, don't know whether to see any shoots coming through. Well, there's one there. I'll have to water them today too by the looks of it. Yes, and the garden comes through here. The hostas are just coming up through there. The raspberries are starting to flower. We've got fuchsias. It's an early flowering fuchsia. There's fuchsias are through there. This is our vegetable garden. We're very prolific with rubbish. These, I take 4 or 5 of these to a place of work, and there's a dumping area there that's very handy to get rid of the rubbish. And the vegetable garden coming on, broad beans, early carrots, and today I'm going to sow some more carrots. So that's about it. Our spring garden. Different things are coming up here. It's lots of lilies in this garden too. And I was in there during the week, and I was told to go careful for the lilies that are not yet up. So that's our spring garden, and we'll be seeing you in at February. Of course, we're in the southern hemisphere here, and the begonias in February will be at their peak. So we'll see you then. Right. Well, hello, Daniel Y. Welcome again to our private gymnasium. It just shows you one of the things that keep us fit, Stella and I. These marigolds need deheading all the time, deadheading, to encourage them to flower more. They're starting to go off now at this time of the year. We plant them in the spring after the pansies are finished. I don't dehead those down there, deadhead them. Because just leave them alone. But this is our garden around here, and these here I call Lilium weederatum's, because if you let the seed drop, they just spread like weeds. So I call them Lilium weederatum's. Last week it was a very nice show there. And this here is a crab apple, and all these apples here. We have another apple tree over there, crab apple, and the birds really love it. This here, they've been working on the sewage, because in the earthquakes it cracked their pipes, and they're putting a plastic liner in. 3 weeks ago they did this, and they said, oh, we're back in a couple of days and fill it out back in. but they haven't come back. So hopefully they'll sort things out soon. I'm afraid of the lawn dying underneath this piece of wood. Yes, when we came here there was a hedge here, so I built this trellis work to finish the house off. And yes, walk around here. The garden, of course, is extensive for a little site. And there's more there, pats there, and that's that crabapple that the birds like. So there's plenty of little dwarf dahlias. And yes, more Lilium weedoratums, or they call them Easter lilies. Yes, and the fuchsias again. And now we come to the begonias. There. And of course it's quite a job watering them. It takes about an hour to water them all, but this lot here I have put irrigation in, and that saved a lot of work, especially at this time of the flowering, because the pots are very hard to find if you want to water them by hand. And here's another area of begonias. So yes, this display here, and it's everywhere we can find a place to hang them. They're hung. And here is once again, is the head gardener. And I was asked one day, not so long ago, by a couple of ladies, do you take supplements? I said, no, I don't. But I said, for 65 years I've been taking vitamin Z. And what's vitamin Z? I said, it's my wife, Zella. So that's Zella, 65 years. And she, of course, I'm the apprentice gardener still. And I don't know when I'll graduate. Thank you, darling. Yeah, so this is all the area of begonias. So a display. And another, of course, begonia pot. The vegetable garden. Leeks, parsnips, carrots, beans, lettuce, red onions, and just a minute, I can't give you the name of that now. These names get me those there. So we go through the garden path into the gym. Yes. This is the private gym. And there's the house, of course. It was pointed out on the previous one, and the 90-year-old keeps active. So, and they're still doing these exercises. The thing I didn't point out before in the last one, that you can also mix an egg in when you cook the spaghetti, and that builds it up nicely. But the exercises are still there, 160 every night before I retire, and the one or two things that I want to point out, as you do them, keep your head straight forward, because it helps, I'm sure it helps your back to prevent stoop, because stoop does happen in old age. And another thing I'm doing is I look at my nose and then look in the distance. Look at my nose and look in the distance. Look at my nose and look in the distance, to prevent lazy eye, which can happen when you can cause double vision. Yes, last time I approached the twins here regarding doing the exercises, but they're a bit bigger now. Do you think you could do these exercises? Now, who's who?
I'm doing that one.
You're who? I don't know their names. I can't distinguish between them, so I call one Adeline and the other one McCaddy, because one is Adeline and one is Mackenzie.
I'm Adeline.
You're Adeline and Mackenzie. Right, I'll never be able to. Right, you take those.
Yeah.
You take those. Now come up, see if you can do these exercises with Granddad. They're my great-grandchildren, of course. Now, down like this. Now, lift them up over, right up. Keep your arms straight if you can. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, we'll look over to, come over here. Right, do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Oh, you're doing well. Yes. Well, Granddad, as I said before, does 160 of those. Sometimes they're a bit hard, and if I'm thinking of something else, they go quite easy. And one thing about baked beans, I thought, it's a wonder they're not banned, because when you eat baked beans, you sometimes have an effluent after it. I'll call it effluent, and that causes climate change. So it's a wonder they haven't banned them. So wait out, then they may ban baked beans in the future. Just joking, of course. Right. Now, you can do that quite good. You did quite well, because last time, Mummy will show you on the internet how you were small little ones. Now you're 5 years old. So, yes, and going to school. So these ones grow up. Now, I am going to get into my lycra. Lycra is, you'll see in a minute. Hello, girls. What do you think I like? They have a Mr. Universe. Mr. Universe, but I'd hardly make Mr. Universe, I don't think, this old chap. However, when you think of Mr. Universe, we don't know how big the universe is. All the stars and that are part of the universe, and I think there are billions of them. And the thing is about, well, you may not understand this, but I worked it out about our forebears. You have four grandparents, 8 great-grandparents, and so it goes on. And by the time you get up to 30 generations, you have over a billion forebears. So that's a lot, and you could be related to anybody going way, way back. Genghis Khan, you won't know about him. He was a terrible man, and a lot of people like that. But that's what's happened. And as you get older, I've found that the gravity, you know what gravity is?
No.
Gravity is to cause things to be heavy. And I've found that that's got stronger over the years. And I don't know whether that's caused by climate change or what, but however, it's a terrible thing there. But yes, if these people who take up these exercises want to do it real proper, they can get into their lycra. I don't do it there. But this is, you know, this is Uncle Glenn's Black Max. He makes that and sells it. It's a, well, what does it say? It's a performance nutrition. He makes that, and Dylan, he sells it for Uncle Glenn. So I'm doing a bit of advertising here. It's made out of black currants and other things. Yes. So that's it. And yes, I'm 95 now, and I said in the last video that I'd see them again in 10 years' time. This time I'm going to say I'll see you again in 5 years' time, God willing. And yes, I'll say goodbye now, which means God be with you. Goodbye.